So what we've done so far, we've reviewed one-step equations. We reviewed two-step equations, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to continue, and this we did a little bit of this last year. Okay, so this is kind of review. Okay, Kylie, would you grab that thing off the printer for me? Do you mind? I printed something. Okay, this is solving equations using the distributive property. Okay? Do you guys remember the distributive property? Remember that? It's basically a way of getting rid of parentheses, right? Simplifying by getting rid of parentheses. If I had something in parentheses, let me write the date today. Okay. So if I had something in parentheses, let's say I had 2 and then I had 3 plus 5. You could simplify that pretty easily, right? What would you do in this case? In this expression, what would you do? Noah?
Add 3, 5.
You would take care of what's inside the parentheses first, right? 3 plus 5 is what? 8. And this, nothing separating this number from the parentheses would imply what operation? Yeah, multiplication. So if I multiply 2 times 8, I would just have what? 16, right? Remember doing that? Now, what's different if I have something like this? I can't simplify 3 plus m, can I? There's nothing I can do with 3 plus m because I don't know what? I don't know what m is, right? Agreed? So who remembers, how do I, first of all, inside this parentheses, okay, what is inside that parentheses? There are 2 terms. What are those 2 terms? A 3 and a what? 3 and an m. Good. So if you remember, and what separates one term from another? Does anybody remember? Plus or minus sign. Didn't print? Okay. Let me print it real quick. Okay. See if it printed now. All right. So if I put a little separator thing here between that, okay, how can I get rid of those parentheses? I can multiply 2 times 3. What's 2 times 3? 6. And if I multiply 2 times positive m, 2 is positive and m is positive, so therefore I can't just put, why can't I just say 2m right here? What would that imply? What would that imply? If nothing is separating, that would imply multiplication, right? So I have to put that plus or minus sign. Now, can I do anything with this? Can I do anything? Can I combine 6 plus 2m?
Yeah. No.
No, you can't. Because they're not what? Anybody remember what those are called? Like? Terms. They're not like terms. One has a variable, the other one does not, right? Okay, so I can't do anything with that. All right? So, but if I had an equal sign, then I could actually solve it. As far as simplifying, this is as far as I could go with this particular expression, right? It's all right. Don't worry about it. Okay. So let's take a look. I'm going to bring a problem from this. No. But it's the kind of problems that we're going to be doing. Okay, so if I look at this problem. Okay. I'm going to first, before I can solve for b, okay, this is obviously an equation because there's an equal sign, right? So my objective here is to solve for b. Well, in order to solve for b, I've got to get rid of those parentheses. How can I get rid of those parentheses? Who can tell me? We just went over it. What's it called? I can distribute, right? And what distribute means, think about this. If I was distributing something to the class, I'm passing it out to everybody in the classroom, right? It's kind of the same thing. We're going to distribute what's outside the parentheses to everything that's inside the parentheses. Make sense? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to separate these terms. Okay, so let's separate these terms. Okay, why would I not put this here? Okay, because what separates one term from another? If this, with a positive, it's not that big of a deal. But if I had a negative sign there, there would just be like a floating negative. We can't have that, right? Okay, so I'm going to separate these terms. Okay, and I'm going to multiply everything from the outside times the inside. What's negative 3 times positive 3? Anybody? Negative 9. And what is negative 3 times positive 6b? Negative what? 18b. Good. And then I just bring this down. Okay, so now I turned this into a what? What did we do last week? We did one-step and two-step equations. Is there anything that I can combine there on either side of the equal sign? I can't combine -9 and -18b. Why? Because they're not like terms, right? Okay, so if we use the box method, okay, we can put this -18b in the box. What's outside that box? How do I get rid of a -9? You add 9. So I add 9 to this side, and I add 9 to this side, and this is canceled. I bring down my -18b, and what's 81 plus 9? 90. Okay, now how am I going to solve this? What do I divide each side by?
18.
-18. Okay. Now let's think about, before this is kind of long division, let's estimate in our minds what might be a reasonable answer for this. Okay. What is 18 close to? That's an easy number. 20, right? And what is 90 kind of close to? 100. How many 20s go into 100? 5. So if we start with 5 to see if it might work, okay, is that a reasonable place to start? We wouldn't want to start with 19, right? Or something completely off the wall. So 5 is a good place to start. Do we know how to do 18 times 5 in our heads? What can we turn 18 into? A 10 and a what? 10 and an 8. What's 10 times 5? 50. What is 8 times 5? 40. What's 50 plus 40? 90. Is that what we're looking for? Yeah. So if we divide this cancels. How many? First of all, a negative divided into a positive is going to give me a what? A negative. And how many 18s go into 90? We already determined it was what?
5.
So -5 would be our answer. Okay. You see how we found that? Okay. Does that make sense so far? Okay. Did everybody write that down? Let's try another one. Okay. Does everybody have that? Can I erase it?
Yep.
Okay. Let's try this one. This one's easy. All right. Too much coffee?
Yes.
There's no such thing as too much coffee.
When there's 3 shots in it, there is.
Oh. Sorry about that. Okay.
It's okay.
What can I do here? I can distribute, right? What's the first thing I should do? Separate my what? First of all, can I do anything with this until I know what V is? Can I do anything with this until I know what V is?
No.
No. And what is separating these two terms? 6V, this is a 6V and a what? -4. So I'm going to separate those, okay? How do I get this to multiply times this? What's 6 times 6V? 36V. And what is 6 times -4? -24. And this just comes down, right? Okay, what do I now have? What have I turned this into? Okay, I got to erase that minus sign looks funky. Okay. -24 equal. Okay, that's better, isn't it? Okay, if I use the box method, what's going to go in my box? 36V. Okay, what's outside the box? -24. So how do I get rid of -24? I add 24 here, and I add 24 here. Those cancel, so I have 36V equals, what's 120 plus 24? 144. Okay. Again, let's estimate what we think is reasonable. Okay. Do we know the multiples of 36? 72. Good, Lucas. So I know that 36 times 2 is 72. Does 72, if we think ahead, does it have something to do with 144? What does 72 have to do with 144?
It's times 2.
It's times 2, right? Okay. So what would we multiply 36 times to get 144?
4.
If we divide that, we get 4, okay? And if I did 36 in my head, 36 plus 36 is 72, plus 36 is what?
4. Oh.
100 and,
144.
well, times 4, but times 3, what would that be? 108, good. And then plus another 72, or 36 would be 4. Okay. Does this make sense? Okay. There's only one other type you're going to see, and it has one additional step. Okay. So let's take a look at that one. Okay, this one, right? We'll do this one. All right. So this one is, somebody tell me what's different about this one?
It has nothing else.
I've got one additional number. Do you think that's going to change anything on how we do this? We still are going to have to get rid of parentheses, right? So how am I going to get rid of those parentheses? Distribute. Good. So let's separate these terms. What's negative 3 times negative 3? Positive 9. Do I have to put the plus in front of it? No. What's negative 3 times negative 6x? Do I have to put the plus in front of it? Yeah. So plus 18x. Did I do anything with this? No. So what do I do?
Down.
Just bring it down and bring this down. Okay? Now, when I look over here, can I combine 9 plus 18x? Can I combine 9 plus 1?
Yes.
And what is that? 10. So now I have 18x plus 10 equals 100. Okay? Am I down to a two-step equation? Yeah. So what do I put in the box if I use the box method? This. What's outside the box? Plus 10. How do I get rid of a plus 10? Minus 10 here, and then I got to do it over here, right? Okay. So those get. Why do I have to do it to both sides? Because equations are what? Anybody remember? Remember, I gave you the analogy. If I had 5 $1 bills over here and a $5 bill over here, those equal each other, right? If I took $1 away from this and I don't take $1 away from this, do they still equal each other? No, equations are balanced. So if I do something to one side, I have to do it to the other. That's why I take away 10 from here and I take away 10 from here, right? Okay, so I'm left with 18x equals, what's 100 minus 10? 90. Divide each side by 18. Did we already do 18 into 90? And what was it? X equals 5. Okay? Does this make sense?